Good morning. Project we're going to try and knock out today is a hallway gate. Um, we've got a cheap little baby gate that we've had for a while. Keeps the dogs out of the bedroom area and keeps the little ones from going back there during visits and all. So we're going to try and build something a little more substantial because the baby gate has seen better days and we're tired of fixing it. So going to make something a little more farmhouse style to match with the theme of the house. So that's my design right here. Basically, we have the two walls with baseboards at the bottom. Just measured. I need to write out my measurements on this, and then I will start cutting some boards. I did feel for studs behind the wall. There are a few. None of them really line up with where I want to put the gate, so we're probably just going to use sheetrock anchors, and then I'm going to put this board on the floor, touching the floor with some felt pads maybe. All right, and there we are. So we have the distance between the fence pickets to keep the dogs from getting through. That's kind of the idea there. Baseboard thickness is to offset whatever this vertical board that we're going to be putting adjacent to the thing to have something to screw into the wall. So we got 1/2 inch there, so that should be pretty easy. Most of the material I'm going to be working with is 1/2 inch. Overall width of the hallway is 39 plus a little, so I'm gonna give myself a little room for the hinges and whatnot. And then the overall height is about 31. I could go a little higher, but honestly, most of the time, most of us end up stepping over the gate. We're all pretty tall, so I want to keep that option available in case you got your hands full. I'll roll with that. Next, we're gonna need, so we've got our vertical pickets here. Next, we're gonna need the horizontal and these other vertical supports to go all the way around. I think I've got enough to do that out of actual fence pickets. I'm gonna look and see right now. Okay, we've got a fence picket here. It's got a little bit of chipping on the side. That's fine, we're gonna use it. Let's cut it to 5 inches so it's nice and multiples of the 2.5 that I have over already. Okay, I just realized I was missing a measurement, which is the baseboard height, so I sent my assistant to go get it. So we know that's 5 inches. Now we know overall height minus 5, 26, overall height of 31. And then we know that this is 5 inches wide and 1/2 inch wide, 5 inches and a half, so we have 11. 11 minus the overall width is 28. Yeah. So now we can get to cutting. So I've got this 5 inch board here. I'm gonna rip it into, I need at least 4 28 inch boards, so that's what I'm gonna start with. Okay, so before we cut any more and waste any more material, we got 3 pieces at 28 inches and they're 5 inches wide, so we can at least assemble the gate portion, the portion that's gonna swing open. So let's go ahead and put that in. Well, now you've seen my stupid brain at work in high definition, so that's just great. But basically, I think this is what we're going to run with. I'm not a huge fan of these slats. They're kind of bendy, but I think they're going to be fine for a vertical gate. I definitely want to do 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom, so I've got to cut another 28 for sure. That's going to be where all of the load is with the hinges, so I definitely want to make sure that I have good structure there. I'm not 100% sold on using just these for the vertical, but I'm going to try it. I think it'll be fine, especially once I have the bottom supported pretty well. I think it'll be okay. And I'll have a diagonal that goes across, so that'll give me some extra support as well. And I'll be making that out of this 1/2-inch material, so I should be good. Yeah, should be good. Famous last words. All right, so I was just trying to figure out my exact spacing to get them uniform, and what I did was measured out and cut a piece of wood at a certain width, 2 1/4. This is the first one I tried, and the spacing didn't work out. So I upgraded to 2 3/8, and now it is happy. Yeah, I got a little gap on the side, so it will work. 2 3/8 is what we're looking at and what we're gonna roll with. And I'm gonna go ahead and stick this together. Well, we got our spacing settled, and you always figure out a better way to do things when you're 2/3 of the way through. I was gluing where the slats were supposed to be instead of gluing onto the slats and then laying them down, but that's how it goes. So again, there are tools to do this. This little trick, you can actually go out and figure out the exact spacing that you need to make, and I'm sure I'm pretty close. Yeah, see, I'm only about a 1/16 or maybe a little less than an 1/8 off, 2/16 off. So to me, I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that, especially considering I didn't have to use much brain power, just trial and error. But you can see the overall look. Like, this is going to be painted, so I'm not really worried about how this used wood looks, and I'm all about repurposing because I am cheap. So that's one side done. Let's see how she looks on the other side. Oh yeah, that's gonna be nice. I like it. Let's keep rolling. So I'm just adding glue to all those spots where this board is going to be touching. I just cut the remaining pieces of wood that I'm going to need, except for the diagonal. I did leave you guys out of it because you've seen enough cutting at this point. I have my little assistant videoing for me right now. Appreciate her assistance. So this board had a knot in it, and when you're building something like this that's going to be touched by people, you want to pick and choose which side's going to be the top. I've already decided that that side's going to be the top, so I'll take the board that's got some problems and put it on the bottom. So that is there, and we are good and flush. I'm just sandwiching those boards together and making sure it's good and square. I'll go ahead and attach it with, I can change over to my staple gun now. I don't know if you noticed, but in the time lapse, I had my staple gun initially, and that's when I realized that it was shooting all the way through. Well, that's a problem. I don't want it shooting all the way through, so I can now use that same stapler with 1-inch staples to get nice, firm staples. So I just put one in to make sure it's going to hold. Get the other side nice and flush, and I'll put another one in over there. And now I can go crazy. All right, so we're ready to go ahead and attach this other side, that side. I was just checking on my staples to make sure she's good, and she is. So this is my top side now that I'm working on, so I want to make sure it's nice. Look at my sides of the board and see what I've got. Check out the cupping. If there is any, this board is pretty decent. I cut out the bad parts. So that looks good. Let's get some glue. Now, this is not it will be a high use, high wear item. So I am using a fair bit of glue, but as far as, you know, making sure every bit and every piece of the contact surface is coated, you know, with a brush and all that, that's just not my kind of building. Maybe in the future I'll get to that point where I care that much and I want to go slow, but for me right now I like to go fast. I like to get something done, be productive, and sand it down later to make it look pretty. All right, so that's where I'll probably leave this project for now. I've got to get some hinges, but we have our gate portion made. We still need our diagonal, which I should cut a board for here soon. And then from there, I have my 31-inch pieces for the overall height and my 26-inch pieces for my wall contact. And I need some hinges and some gate hardware. I have some in here. I was looking at them and they look really rough. Not gonna reuse those. I'm gonna go ahead and get some new ones. But yeah, I'll run to the hardware store and be back at this project later. All right, we're back. It's a few days later after building the gate, which is hanging out right there. I got a little lumber delivery, repurposed wood, a bunch of 2x6s, real excited about that. But I got some hardware. I was gonna wait till I could make time to make it out to one of the big box stores, but in talking to my genius wife, she was like, I bet Walmart has some. And sure enough, they do. And initially I was poo-pooing on the idea, but it's not gonna be outside, it's gonna be inside, and it's more for the aesthetic. So as long as it's mechanically strong, we'll be good. So we're about to move on to the mechanically strong part. So now we got the interfacing of the wall boards to do. And as you can probably see from my perspective here, these boards are not very straight, not very clean, and not very flat. However, I'm gonna run with it. And if it looks like doo-doo when it's mounted to the wall, we'll redo it. So my current plan is I've got it mounted in the vise. I'm gonna glue and screw it just like that. Okay, we got them attached. Threw a few screws in there and they're good and strong. I mean, it ain't pretty, but again, this is gonna get painted and be in a dark hallway of my house. So hopefully nobody ever sees how dirty and nasty it is, but my little method worked. Just clamping it in, and started to get a little concerned about cracking on the tops here, so I did pre-drill a little recess for the screws to go down into. But it's good and tight, and I think it's going to be strong, especially when the glue sets up. All right, we're back. Got the gate all viced up, and looking at mountain hardware. So I got it clamped all together here. I think I'm gonna slide a piece of cardboard in here to give it a little bit more spacing, just to give me some wiggle room. But yeah, let's get some hardware on. Okay, we got some hardware mounted up. I gave it like a 16th gap just to make sure everything moves smoothly. And I got it sitting in the jaws just like it'll be mounted to the wall, and it opens smooth. So I'm not unhappy with that. Okay, there's the gate hardware mounted. As expected with Walmart quality and Hyper Tough quality, I was short on screws. They gave me like 2 less screws than I needed, but thankfully I had some sitting around, as I do because I'm a hoarder. So I just use those. They don't quite match, and it looks fine. It's not that big a deal. So yeah, I just got standard gate hardware for the closure. The objective is to keep the dogs out of the bedrooms, so that's going to work just fine. Last time I checked, Chihuahua mutt can't reach that.
and we got gate hardware. So all I have to do now is mount it in the hallway. I lied. I went ahead and cut the cross support. So normally with a cross support, you kind of set it in the region where it meets up with the other vertical for the gate, but this doesn't have one of those. So I just did straight almost 45s. And for now I just glued it and clamped it, and I'm gonna leave it like that till tomorrow. All right, we were just doing a little dry fit inside, and it looks to me like we got a little bit off on our measurements. Concept is good, execution is poor, but we can fix it. And I don't even think, yeah, we'll have to move the latch over slightly, but we'll take I don't know, half an inch off to make sure it's got enough room, and then bring it back. Yeah, okay, cut about half an inch off. And I think we're looking good. We got some slack on the bolt there, and I got some slack on the wall over here. You can see how cut that board is. And I've got a stud right there on it, so I should be able to lay that one in real good to that stud with some 3-inch screws. So all the strength will be on that. And then I can't find a stud on this side, so I've got some sheetrock anchors that I'm just gonna knock it in with. And you can see the damage to the wall that the last gate was causing, so that's why we decided to change it. And most importantly, I made this at a certain height so I can still walk over it, because if your hands are full, that's what you need to be able to do. Yeah, I like it. It's gonna look good with some paint. It'd be wrong not to include some of the work that's being done by my lovely assistant, who is sanding and painting it. So here she is.